Largo, Maryland. You gonna talk about Largo, Maryland, babe?
Let's get into Largo.
So let me show them the map real quick.
All right, get the map right there.
So this is a map of where Largo, Maryland. I hope you can see it. It's over to the right a little bit.
They can see it.
It's over to the right a little bit. And
you mean to the right of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, to the right of Washington. It's east of Washington, D.C. You can see where Arlington is. You can see where Bethesda is, Alexandria. So Prince George's County Community College, that's where Largo, Maryland is, actually right across the street from the college.
Right.
Largo is teeny, teeny, tiny. Now, you can also talk about Kettering and Upper Marlboro. Mitchellville's a little bit further.
We got people out there.
Yeah. And so it's not too far, guys, and it's right on the metro too. Like literally, the metro is right there. I actually lived in Largo, Maryland when I was in college.
That was before I met you, though, right?
It was before you met me.
Man, Tracy had a life before I met her, y'all.
I lived in Largo. Largo is really nice. My mother made me live with my great aunt. She said, I did it while I was at Howard, and you need to do it too.
So your mom lived with Aunt Lee, and you lived with Aunt Lee.
Yes.
While you were in college.
While she was in college, she lived with Aunt Lee, and while I was in college, I lived with Aunt Lee.
That's like a whole indoctrination right there.
My beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Aunt Lee.
Rest in power, Aunt Lee.
Yes, you were the woman, very, very special woman in my life.
No doubt.
And I lived with her for a year in Largo, Maryland.
Okay.
She had a great townhouse. It was a great little community. I would actually, every now and then, I would just, she would drop me off at the metro station for me to go back and forth. And every now and then, she'd let me use her car. But for the most part, you do kind of need a car out here. It is car dependent, but it's not too far.
But
Six Flags is out there, too.
You just said they had metro. So
Yeah, they got metro.
So it's not car dependent.
No. You can get on the bus and get to the metro. It is, to me, it's car dependent. I wouldn't not have a car and live in Largo.
But you can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
But it'll be tough. It'll be tough. So go ahead and tell them.
So for those of you that don't know, the most famous place in Largo, Maryland, has been demolished.
It's gone, y'all.
It was demolished in 2002. Some of you may know it as the Cap Center. Yeah. Where the Washington Capitals used to play, the Washington Bullets basketball team used to play, the Washington Wizards actually used to be called the Washington Bullets.
I've been there a few times.
For those of you that don't know, the Washington Wizards were the Washington Bullets. And
but
they also,
for numerous reasons, they changed the name.
But they also used to participate in their sporting activities at the Cap Center in Largo, Maryland. So Prince Georgians, they in terms of going to the doctor and regional hospitals are opening there.
Getting ready to open there. Mixed use.
They're
Let me show you
doing
some pictures.
Sprawling mixed use development of apartments, restaurants, shopping, movie theaters. All of this is going to be next to the town center, metro station. So the project is really core to what the county executives are looking to in terms of creating their vision.
The county executive, Rashawn Baker, did he go to Howard? I think he went to Howard.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Rashawn Baker is the
county executive.
The county executive. I don't think they have a mayor.
But the vision is to really turn that whole area into sort of a county seat, a town, kind of a town hall community kind of vibe in terms of downtown Prince George's. And so another key piece of that plan is relocating county headquarters to Largo from where it is now in Upper Marlboro.
Yeah, Upper Marlboro is a little further out. Yeah,
so the transition is already underway, right? So the developers have taken note, and the apartments and townhouses and
really
all kinds of things are sprouting up. And what they're doing is that they're centering everything around the metro. So that's going to be pretty cool, right? And so you have kind of this whole vibe, this whole county complex, live, work, play, centered around the metro and this area. And so I think it's going to be pretty dope.
And we're talking about Largo because it's one of the boom towns. Remember we gave you that list that everybody's saying is booming. So
it's part of our series.
It's one of those transitional neighborhoods that we've been talking about, and it's part of our series of talking about the boom towns. Yeah. So Largo is one of those. I was just telling you, it'll be a great little place to invest in. Even if you're ready to move, it's a great little place for families. The schools are borderline. I am going to share that with you, but we are going to show you some of the schools that are good. I think they have like a charter type school out there going on. So you're going to have to be really, really selective when you think about moving out there with children, okay, unless you're going to put them in a private school. Places like Largo, Maryland, I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with Queens Chapel.
Glen Arden, I've heard
and
of.
I've heard of Glen Arden, and I'm familiar with Hillcrest, but not Langdon. I'm not sure what Lane. So it looks like they're all neighborhoods within DC, and I think they're all in like the northeast area of DC. So that means it feels somewhat, what do they call it? What's the word?
Urban suburban.
Urban suburban. Dense suburban.
Okay, dense suburban.
So that means that it's still further out, but it's dense. And I would have to agree with that.
Yeah, yes. It's suburban, but it has kind of an urban vibe.
Kind of like where we live. We live in Arlington, so it's kind of suburbia, but it's very, very dense. Like my neighbor's house, I could throw a rock and hit it.
And you can get to the city pretty quickly.
Well, my next door neighbor's house. The other neighbors, I have to walk. Yeah. But it's all weird. It's all good.
It's all good.
I still feel really private in our house, so it's a little different like that. Okay. What's next? What we got next? We got let's look at the
what you got? You gonna do
the median home value.
Median home value 283.9. Hey, so I mean, regardless of like what part of the country you're in, that that pricing probably doesn't scare you. And so you really need to look at it as an opportunity. And one of the reasons that we're highlighting it again is because of the boom towns, right? And so, from an investment perspective, you want to catch these transitions at the right time.
Yeah.
And so this is a great time while this area is transitioning. And if you're looking to buy, or if you're looking to invest, or you're looking to be in a location that's going to give you access to DC proper and the DMV, this is a great opportunity. So wanted to call that out in terms of medium home value, and then look at their rent as well.
That median rent is about $200 cheaper, isn't it?
It is. It is $1,690, right? So a lot of the places we've been showing have been around $1,800, $2,000 a month and higher. So the rent is a good number.
And as you can see, the home values are a little bit lower than what we were looking at in other PG County. I think the other PG County town we looked at was Bowie, and this is definitely lower than Bowie, and it's closer in than Bowie. That is, and it's for a reason. Don't get it twisted. It's for a reason. Yeah. But the point of it is that this is a great place to kind of get into. Now, if you have like a baby or preschool age kids, this will be a good place to purchase because you will see not only an increase in your home value, but you don't have to worry about schools right now.
Think opportunity.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Let's look at the rent. So the rents, they are showing up as a little bit less. They don't have a lot of homes, and they don't have a lot of rentals on the market. I did notice that. I think when I pulled it up, it was only like 21. And that's because Largo is small.
Right.
Now, you can also put in Upper Marlboro, and that's going to give you that same area. So think of it as like Largo is like the town center kind of area, and then Upper Marlboro is like the suburban part of Largo.
Yeah.
So you can think of it like that.
Yeah. So if you're looking to be a renter and that's in that area, hey, you got to jump on something.
Yeah. If you like anything that you see, hit that like button. That really helps us with the algorithm.
We
appreciate it. Let's look at the rankings of Largo. So it's it's a lot lower. It's not really considered a suburb for young professionals. I'd say it's 109. It means it's right there in the middle. Not bad, but not great. Not like some of the other places that we've shown you. It is very diverse. A lot of places around here are super diverse. We really, really like that about living here, right? Best places for young professionals, it's right in the middle there too. So it's really up and coming. It's one of those gray kind of areas that you want to look at.
Okay,
but we just thought.
Okay, put a pin in that.
Oh, okay.
So I have an issue with most of these numbers.
Okay, tell us why.
Right, let me tell you why.
Okay.
All right, let's take the first one. Best suburbs for young professionals in Maryland, 109 out of 195.
I think it should be higher.
If I'm a young black professional.
Yep.
And maybe I'm not married, maybe I want to buy property or invest in a property, I think it's a phenomenal opportunity.
I do too.
Right. So in terms of the lens that you look at it through, I think that number would be much higher on my book. Right, in my book.
Okay.
Most diverse suburbs in Maryland. So I think we're going to get to the data when it's breaking down the diversity of this area. But if I'm a young black professional, I'm loving this, right?
Yeah.
And because the reason that it's not showing as diverse is because it's like 86% black people out there.
Yeah, it is.
So if I'm a young black professional, I'm loving that, right? I'm enjoying it. My people everywhere I look, and I'm moving around, I'm doing my thing, and I feel really comfortable when I'm coming home every day. And and if I work there and live there, I mean that's even greater, right? And so that would be a lot more appealing to me. And then best places for young black professionals, tying into what I was just saying. If I'm a young black professional and I live there, I'm feeling really good. So those numbers, I just wanted to call that out for our audience, especially our black audience who are looking to come to the area.
Yeah.
So take these numbers with a grain of salt is the moral of that story.
Okay. Let's see what's next.
Boom. Heath has spoken.
There we go. So diversity based on ethnic, and they're giving it a B because it's mostly black people. I think that's why they're giving it a B.
Right. Well, in diversity, typically this data, right, is really looking for the numbers of different groups. So when you're talking about diversity, that's why it's not in the A category.
Yeah, that's why I think it is too.
Yeah.
They got children there, guys. See how many people are under the age of 10? So they've got children there, and then the education level. Most people that live there have some type of college education.
Yep.
So that gives you an idea of the demographics, as well as here's another age demographic. If you compare Maryland to Largo to the rest of the DMV,
Yep.
most people there are fairly young, as you can see. They're pretty young.
Tying back to my early comments.
Yep, that's what Heath was saying. And then this is another demographic that we wanted to show you.
Right.
So mostly married people, and then you have people with children that are single. Okay. Only about 4% white people, but about 90% black people. Some Asians live out there, and other races too. So I see what they're saying now with the diversity. It's not that diverse. It's mostly a black area, if that's what you're going for.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Income wise, let's see what we've got going on here. Little bit lower than what we're used to seeing in this area. They're hovering around 87.4.
Yep.
So that is a little bit lower. That's why it's a B minus.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a reminder, guys, this is one of those changing areas.
Right. So two things I want to call out here. So one is that's still well above
The national
25 grand higher than the national average, number one. Number two, because it's predominantly black people out there, that says that black people are doing well that live in Largo.
Yeah.
So that's another piece there that I wanted to.
Yeah, and that's something that we always speak to. Don't be afraid to move here because of the income that people here get paid more.
Yeah.
For living here.
So there you go. People doing well.
Yeah, and here's another. But as you can see, there's still quite a few people that make $100,000 to $150,000.
No doubt.
As you can see,
no doubt,
that live in Largo. About 25% of the people.
Yeah, because that number,
there.
that 87K is an average.
Yes, that is correct. So it's
people
still
get the bag
it's
in
still
Largo.
100. It's still 100K-ville.
People in Largo still getting the bag.
They still 100K-ville. Just so you know. Cost of living. Is this still income? No, this is this is still income, guys. So as you can see, their unemployment rate is a little bit higher than the United States. I think this is maybe one of the first demographics that we've seen in the DMV with a higher unemployment rate. They do have a lot of retail out there. So they do have services. That is another thing about that Largo that's pretty cool. They do have services, and more are coming.
Yep.
And the recent job growth has gone the other way for the same reason, retail. Future job growth perspective is good, and that is because that is something that they are focused on, and that is something that they're working on. PG County as a whole is just a gold mine.
Yep. DMV.
If it was closer, we would live there. It's
DMV.
too far for us, though. Cost of living. Just wanted to point this out. The cost of living in Largo is going to be higher. I think that, I'm not sure why, because as you can see, the home cost is higher than it is in the United States. So that, I think that's going to, be in the same realm. But if you compare Largo to Maryland, it's higher for health. It's lower for housing when you compare it to Maryland, when you're comparing it to Bethesda, and you're comparing it to even Bowie or Potomac. It is going to be lower. Your transportation costs are definitely higher because it's spread out a little bit more. It is suburban still, so your transportation cost is going to be higher. And then if you're driving into the city, it's going to be higher. And even if you're taking the metro, because it used to be like one of the last stops, but I don't think it's the last stop anymore.
Yeah.
So
So
now
you maybe a little bit longer in the train, a little bit longer in the car.
It's going to cost you a little bit more.
A little bit more gas. So
your transportation costs will be higher.
Yeah.
Oh, now let's look at crime. So this is the violent crime is higher than most of the metro area, as you can see. Not much, but it is higher. But once again, we're going to say it again, y'all. The crime here is property crime.
Right.
It's breaking in your car. It's stealing bikes off your porch.
Porch powers.
You know, it's things like, it's not people pulling guns on you. It's not people shooting you. You walking by, people shooting. That's just not what it is.
Yeah.
The crime is higher. I didn't have the map this time.
It's okay, baby. It's all right.
But the crime is higher in Largo. I really want to see it though. Is higher in Largo, but it's not that different than the rest of that area. Okay, so keep that in mind. And
keeping it in mind.
Where are the schools? Oh, let's get to politics. We already know what this is. I think this is the bluest I've seen.
No, I think we had one area that we looked at.
What it was?
That it was like the dot was like off of the blue.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was somewhere else in Maryland, I think. No, it was DC. It was
in DC. It was in DC. So this is PG County.
Yeah.
So this is what we expect of PG County. And we like to show this slide so that you understand who your neighbors are going to be, who the people you're, driving around and walking around every day, who they are. And not to say one is any better than the other or where you should be. It's like, think about where you are and then think about how that relates to where you're moving.
Right.
And then last but not least is schools. We did find the top public schools serving the Largo area.
Yep.
As I mentioned, the Academy of Health Sciences, Prince George's Community College, which is right there in the center of town. They have a math and IT charter school.
Nice.
It looks like Glen Arden's elementary school, Heather Hills Elementary School.
Yep.
And I'm not sure what CBC is, but it has good reviews. That means maybe the schooling you can take after high school or something is considered well. I would focus in on living near these schools because the schools that are not these schools are the bottom. So keep that in mind.
The ratings are
definitely keep that in mind.
You got kids, things to
City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. City of mine, how I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop